Good afternoon. This call is number 2021-32387 in the interest of Kamari Solis. Please raise your right hand to be sworn, ma'am. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am. Please state your name and your relationship to the child.
Lakeisha Roy and his great aunt.
Okay. On the father's side or mother's side?
Mother.
Okay. And representing the Attorney General, State of Texas?
Andrea Eoff.
Court will note that the non-custodial parent father, Eric Solis Jr. is not present. He was personally served on December 9th, 2021 at 12:19 p.m. at Harris County Jail, 701 North San Jacinto Street in Houston, Harris County, Texas. He's not appeared or filed an answer. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
The mother, Brittany Gabori, is also not present. She was personally served July 2nd, 2022 at 10:41 a.m. at 3030 Broadway Street, apartment 17 in LaPorte, Harris County, Texas. And she also has not made an appearance or filed an answer, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
We'll proceed by default.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before we begin, we'd like to ask that you admit into evidence what's been marked as State's Exhibit A. It's the acknowledgement of paternity for this child that was signed by Ms. Gabori and Mr. Solis at the child's birth.
Mr. Roy, have you had an opportunity to look at the acknowledgement of paternity?
Yes.
Do you have any objections of me admitting it into evidence?
No.
All right, State's Exhibit A is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'd like to call Lakeisha Roy.
All right.
All right. Ms. Roy, will you please state your full name for the record?
Lakeisha Renee Roy.
And will you state the full name and age of the child in this case?
Kamari King Solis. He's 2 years old.
All right. And CPS placed Kamari in your care when he was 3 days old. Is that right?
Yes.
And you have been the sole conservator for him. You've had possession and care and custody of him since September of 2020, pretty much his whole life. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And his mother the last time she saw him was when he was 3 months old in December of 2020. Is that correct?
Yes.
And has she made any sort of attempt to co-parent with you since he's been born?
No.
Has Mr. Solis made any attempt to co-parent with you?
No.
Do you believe that it would be in Kamari's best interest if you were made his sole managing conservator and Ms. Gabori and Mr. Solis were just possessory conservators?
Yes.
And whenever you allow them to have some visitation, do you believe that it would be best if that visitation was limited to 4-hour visits from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on the first, third, and fifth Saturdays of each month?
Yes.
And given that they haven't seen this child since he was 3 months old, do you feel like they are likely to exercise those periods of possession?
No.
So because of that, would you like for their visitation? Basically, they should be required to send you written notice of their intent to exercise one of these periods of possession 7 days in advance via email to you at lakeisharoy32@gmail.com. Do you think that should be right?
Yes.
And do you believe that it would be in the child's best interest if all of those visits were supervised by you or someone that you choose?
Yes.
And should those visits and exchanges of the child occur at Roseland Park, located at 100 Roseland Drive, Baytown, Texas, 77520?
Yes.
All right. And do you want the court to order you to provide Medicaid for Kamari today?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is it your understanding that Mr. Solis is currently in prison right now?
Yes.
And he will be through May of 2024. Is that right?
Yes.
And you understand that if somebody is incarcerated for more than 90 days, we cannot order them to pay child support or medical support, correct?
Yes.
So based on that, would you like for the court to order Mr. Solis to pay child support of $0 and medical support of $0 due to his incarceration?
Yes.
And would you like the court to make a judgment for retroactive support or back child support for the time period between September 22nd, 2020 and May 10th of 2021, which is the window of time between the child's birth and before he went to jail, in the amount of $1,832 payable at $0 a month?
Yes.
All right. Is Ms. Gabori incarcerated?
No.
Do you know what she does for a living?
No.
No. So are you asking that the court assume that she could at least make minimum wage and use that as the basis for calculating child support and medical support?
Yes.
Would you like for the court to order Ms. Gabori to pay child support in the amount of $217 a month and medical support of $57 a month beginning November 1st, 2022?
Yes.
And has she ever given you any money to help support this child?
No.
Would you like the court to make a judgment for back child support against her in the amount of $5,725 to cover the time period from the child's birth to today, and then order her to pay that at $79 a month beginning November 1st?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you've had problems with Mr. Solis and Ms. Gabori coming to your home and harassing you in the past. Is that right?
Yes.
And do you currently have a restraining order against Ms. Gabori that bars her from coming to your home or in contact with you?
Yes.
Do you believe that if Ms. Gabori or Mr. Solis have your address or phone number, you will be exposed to harassment or abuse or injury in the future?
Yes.
Would you like the court to make a finding of non-disclosure and keep that information confidential?
Yes.
All right. And do you believe that if the court were to enter an order that contained all the terms we just talked about, it would be in Kamari's best interest?
Yes.
And would you like for the court to declare that Mr. Solis is Kamari's legal father based on that acknowledgement of paternity?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. I have no further questions and pass this witness, Your Honor.
And what page is the non-disclosure on?
Let me find it for you, sir. Just one moment. It is on page 27 and 26. The finding is on 26, and then the details about it are on page 27. I can share my screen if you'd like.
Okay, I've got a non-disclosure finding on 27. All right, court will approve the order submitted. Thank you. Parties excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, you are finished, Ms. Roy.